Welcome back to 50 Days of Fitness. Today is day 5. And today is a day where we are going to, so it's Sunday here today as I'm doing this. And I usually, when I do these things, Sunday is my day where, I check my weight, I check everything, kind of make sure that I know what I'm doing, whether I'm progressing or not. And also, it's the day that I'll bump up, if I'm in a phase where I'm increasing. So here we are. So this morning, I earned my first coffee. So, in fact, so I've done my first one. And so what I did today is I bumped up a little bit. Now, you can do that in one of 3 or 4 ways. Number one, you might just increase the number of reps you're doing in each set. You can do that. Number two, if you are using like weight, if you're doing something where you're adding weight in some way, you can increase the weight. Another thing that you might do is you might keep everything where it is, but maybe add another set. So if you're doing, 4 sets right now, maybe you keep everything the same, but you try to make sure you get in a 5th set. And probably the last thing, and this is going to depend upon where you are, might just be flexibility. If you can't quite reach your toes yet, maybe you're reaching halfway down your thighs. You try to go a little bit further in that flexibility range to try to increase that range a little bit. But whatever it might be, and it's going to depend upon where you are in your journey, what you're trying to accomplish, and kind of where you're trying to go as to what is appropriate for you. So this is day 5 of the challenge, but I've told you guys that I've been kind of playing around with this since the beginning of the year. So I have a few things. So a 5th way that you might do is you might, layer in another exercise. So if you've started out and maybe all you've done so far is the squats or the standing up, maybe, you keep doing those, but now you add in toe touchers or whatever it might be. So where I am right now, I'm doing 20 squats and I left that the same. I do 20 toe touchers and I left that the same. I do 20 calf raises and I left that the same. I did add a shoulder thing and it's body weight only right now. And all I'm doing, and this is really, it's probably more than anything for range of motion, but it's just raising my arms up. And so, the first time I got it kind of, straight across. And so I've been that's one thing I've been doing is trying to gradually increase that range of motion a little bit. And you would be surprised because your shoulders really don't need that much weight for exercise. Doing it with your body weight is probably, going to surprise you. So I added that in, and I'm doing bicep curls. I'm doing it with bands. One of these things, I'll show you my bands. And I kept the weight the same, but I had been doing 10, and I bumped that up to 12. And as a general rule of thumb, it's kind of hard to say, but a 10 to 20% increase is usually about what you want. It's going to kind of depend. So, but if you're down and you're doing, say, 4, well, the next one would be 5. And probably after that, it would be 6. And, it takes a little while, but then it begins to get to where you can do more and more. So I added 2 on the bicep curl and I'm doing like a shoulder shrug. And so I'm doing 12 of those now. I added 2 to that. I'm doing my grip things, and that kind of depends. You can really strain your forearms if you're not careful with that. So I am a little careful with that. Then I went up and I finished up with a chest on my Bowflex, and I kept the weight the same, but I added 2 more, so I did 12 there. And I'm doing a row kind of with a lat on the Bowflex, and I did 12 there. So it's getting where I'm getting a pretty good little workout there. And just so you know, I mean, I don't know where you are on your journey. If you're only doing one or two, this should not be discouraging to you, because just to let you know, when I started playing around with this, I was just doing the squats. You know, I would do the squats and that was it. And I got up to where I was doing 30 squats at a time, and I realized, you know, that's not really practical. You need to cut that back down and start adding in other things. And so all of these things are things that have been layered in over a period of 2 or 3 months. So, you know, don't listen to that and say, oh my gosh, well, I'm just going to quit now because I can't do that much. No, that's the way you get to where you can do this much now is to start right where you are, slowly increase, and kind of layer things in. So, you know, if you have done and again, you know, at least for the purposes of what we're doing here, I think the basis that we want is leg strength. You know, that is going to be so important to just give us a basis on everything else. And the other things we also need to do, we want to build up strength. With strength comes, you can increase your flexibility with strength. You can increase your mobility, in particular with strength. And I think that lots of times that gets lost on people. Now, you know, so with more strength will come better health. It just does. Now, there are other kinds of exercise, and we'll talk about those as we go along. But this is a base level kind of starting over kind of program that we're doing. When we get to the end of it, I may very well choose a different one. But that's another thing, is it's really a good idea to keep the same program for, you know, a few months, maybe 2 or 3 months, before you try a different program. Because if you're switching around all the time and all that stuff, it's kind of hard to get results. And so, but anyway, so, you know, here we are. It is Sunday. If you haven't been checking your weight, check your weight, or whatever you're choosing to measure with, whether that's your weight, maybe you're measuring around your waist and your chest. Those kinds of measurements, I think that they're good to do. I do think that if that's your only thing, some people get discouraged because it takes quite a while before you begin to see differences there. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You absolutely should do it, but you won't notice it probably week to week. It'll probably be several weeks before you begin to see any difference there. But you do want to be keeping track in some way. And that way may simply be how many reps you can do. That is a very good way to measure. Just how many reps can I do? You know, how do I feel? Am I feeling better? Am I feeling stronger when I move around? You know, and it will take a while before you begin to notice differences in your appearance as well, but maybe not as long as you might think. You know, lots of times people after a month, they begin to notice some differences. And so a month seems like, God, it seems like a lot, but it's really not. I mean, you'll get there before you know it. So, all right, so here's your assignments. You know, however you're measuring yourself, write it down. You know, if you're measuring yourself by reps and all that stuff, which honestly, as I think about it, that may be the best way for you to do it. Now for me, I'm doing weight as well, but remember in the background, I'm doing the sugar fast. I don't know if you're doing the sugar fast or not. You'll see more changes in weight if you have, you know, done that. And so here at the end of 5, this is the 5th day. So I started out at 218 and I went to 214 by Friday, stayed 214 yesterday. Today, it was a little hard to tell. It's between I don't have a digital scale. It's between 213, 214. It could really probably go either way. So at the end of 5 days, I'm down about 4 or 5 pounds, which that would be a lot for a typical week. Usually it's going to be less than that. You're going to kind of aim for 1 or 2 pounds a week. but it's not crazy. So keep track of that. And then increase your level just a little bit. We're gonna, I think a lot of people are saying try, aim for 1% better. That's actually pretty good advice. So we're going to try to go up a little bit, and just kind of every day we want to get a little bit better. And so that's it. That ends day 5, where I went over 10 minutes. So we're going to wrap it up here. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow at day 6 of 50 Days of Fitness. And everybody have a great day, and enjoy your coffee. You're going to earn it. Since you're earning it, definitely enjoy it. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.